All right, my friends, I am honored to be right now with Bob Kudla, who is in he's in a remote location. He is unable to speak to us by virtue of a witness protection program. I'm kidding, of course, but due to some technological rigors, we're going to be hearing his voice. Bob, welcome, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me, Lionel. Yeah, sorry about that. I came back from Europe and my cameras don't work anymore, so I'm not really
Well,
sure
I
what the
think
issue is.
Listen, let me tell you something right now, my friend. We are recording this the day after President Trump's victory. Nothing can put me in a bad mood. Nothing can go wrong. Uh, you know, we're just gonna make investment great again. Bob, where do we start off? Take me through this. What's the word for Americans, for the world, uh, after last night's incredible victory? Go ahead, sir.
Realignment. We went from the Republican Party and the conservative voices being snuffed out to maybe the extinction of the Democratic left. And look, I don't think you get under. I don't think I can use enough hyperbole on how poorly the Democrats' message was received by the American population. I mean, you know, you pick a segment of the population and Trump did better.
Yeah.
Blacks, Hispanics, white women,
Amish.
men,
Amish.
Amish, because they overplayed their hand. This is what
Yes.
happens when you have tyranny. They don't know how to modulate their greed, and they made a big mistake by telling us who they are before they could totally lock down the country and to their system. And personally, hand to God, in my view, but be that as it may, 55 Senate. Right now, the House is +1 for Republicans, and you got Trump and JD Vance. And the most important thing to me is Trump has now very, very, very trustworthy advisors
Yes.
that are
Yes. Here.
helping
Here.
him this time, that he won't be
Yeah.
snookered,
Yes.
because he has Elon Musk and he has Tulsi Gabbard, and he has RFK, and he has David Sachs, and you know Bill Ackman, who's not as liberal, but these guys are savvy and they're smart and they know how the game is played. And I think it's a new dawn. The
Yes.
comeback kid has come back.
And also, Bob, I think there's a, and by the way, this plays into um, the brutality. I'm sorry, of investment. He's got to get ruthless. You cannot give people leeway. You can't be nice. This is not a garden party. This isn't a tea party. These are people who are going to come after him. And Bob, do not be surprised if they don't try to impeach him, if they don't. And also remember a couple of things too, which I'm very concerned about. You remember that big dock strike? That wasn't settled. That was just kind of postponed. I am very, very frightful or worried that they're going to pull something, because even though they lost, they still control certain factions and segments of society and the business world. So anyway, am I being too paranoid?
Yes, you are. I think the realignment is so complete that that I think he has a mandate. And the interesting thing about like the dock workers, they're very,
Mhm.
very vulnerable to technology. And you got Florida. Remember, the other than um, other than California, you have Florida, Texas, Louisiana, South Carolina are major ports. They're all run by Republican governors, and you know you have DeSantis saying, "Hey, I'll bring the National Guard in, and we'll change, and we'll run
Good.
these ports if the longshoremen won't." So I think they're very vulnerable, and so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And look, there's no impeachment's going to happen because the House is Republican and the Senate is 55 Republican. You know, the biggest thing that he has to worry about now is he's walking into a potential
Hornet's
pretty
nest.
nasty recession. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm an investor. The world is looking to you, Bob Kudla. By the way, tradewithlionel.com. That's where you go for this. Tradewithlionel.com or call 800-949-1408. Bob, what do we do? What should we be looking forward to and at?
Well, I think some of it's already happened. So, I think Bitcoin is going to be a big winner. Oil service companies are going to be big winners. Price of oil itself is probably going to be falling. Uranium's going to be miners are going to be a big winner, and I think you're going to see manufacturing over technology in terms of how they're going to position, the economic renaissance. They're going to basically take it out of China and other places that have lopsided trade balances with us, and they're going to bring these companies back into the United States and just jam up employment here.
Now, if somebody were to contact you right now, somebody says, I want to act while the iron is hot, Bob Kudla. I want to work with a trade genius. I want to go to tradewithlionel.com. What can you do? What are you going? How do you help them? Explain this, because this is critical. Because I know people want to act and they want to know how.
Well, we have now 3 very, very reliable algorithms that help people get in the right trades that are high probability setups. And the third algorithm we did was basically a combination of the other 2 that makes it what we call see trade, take trade. It's a very, very visually simplified way of seeing when the trade is set up to your advantage. And it has absolutely been lights out here over the last 6 weeks that we've had it out. And we know it works because we know the other indicators worked, and this is just a better display tool. So you can literally go from not knowing anything about trading to you join, and the next day you can start taking trades. And that we provide you, but we also provide you access, to our algorithms, and that you are able to then take advantage of these trades per your own watch list. In addition to that, you get to be part of our chat room. And like I said before, we put trades out every day, and it just works really well. I've been doing this a long time, and I encourage people, between now and probably the end of January, it'll probably be people will be making life-altering money. And then going into 2025, then we're going to probably be slipping into a recession.
Okay, so time is of the essence.
Yes, absolutely.
Now,
Time is of the essence.
Now, on a personal level, on a professional level, on an investment level, we talked about certainly the political ramifications of last night. But in terms of what this means to the world, how do other markets see this? Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen, do we have this? Just a second. Wait a minute.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is back. We apparently have received a reprieve from NATO.
You know what's so funny? The PC that I have, sorry folks, the PC I have has a manual block on the camera, and I must have turned it off when I headed over to Europe, and then I just sat there and said, "Oh, the block's on." So anyway,
Okay.
Sorry for the distraction, but this is what I look like. I've been up all night watching the election results. I've been trading since 3 a.m. So bear with the hair.
Fine. By the way, how was Europe? What was the theme and the mood there, sir? And what can you tell us about your travel?
Yeah, what was really interesting about Europe is that the people were really nice. I went to Switzerland, I went to France, Paris, I went to Strasbourg, and the folks were really nice. Tell me you're American, very pleasant. I was really pleased. I was told that Paris is dirty and indifferent. It was clean, and people were really friendly and helpful.
Good.
And I mean, helpful to the point saying, "Hey, I know you're a tourist. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Keep you from getting like pickpocketed and stuff like that." But no issues whatsoever.
Good.
So I was really pleased. And Zurich was lights out. It was sold out. Hotels were sold out. The restaurants were full, and so Europe seems to be, at least the parts we were in, doing quite well. And so, in fact, probably a little bit better than what's happening here in the U.S. But that's on the tourist side of things. So I don't, manufacturing in Germany is coming to the U.S. because electric costs. England's going to have the same problem. They have the highest electricity rates in the world. So it bodes well for the United States.
That is so interesting. Speaking of which, with the president, after 4 years of this horror. By the way, I still have to keep reminding myself, because last night, I don't know about you, because I was watching this. My wife and I, we were doing live. We were here from 7:00 on, and I kept thinking, this can't be happening. And I kept thinking to myself, Bob, and maybe this has nothing to do with investment. Who are the people who are actually voting for her? This is a psychological question. It's one thing to say, look, I hate Trump, I don't like him. Okay, fine. Then either leave it blank or write your name in. But are there any people who say, oh, no, I like her vision. I like what she has to say. I like where she's going. Tell me there aren't people who actually think this, because they must have heard about a message that I must have missed.
Well, you got to remember, people vote party, not people. And those people voted party. So, but look, every demographic shifted red. Okay. Hispanic, Black men, white women, white men, rich, poor. Even a lot of immigrants, that legal immigrants, were saying, hey, we're pro-immigration, we're not pro-invasion. So there was people understood the difference and the distinction. They thought Trump was being treated unfairly. They don't like the direction of the country. Inflation was a problem. They lost trust in the government because of COVID. And so I think he assembled a powerful team. And so I think it was across the board. Now, look, this isn't, this is a little bit like Ronald Reagan, in the sense that Ronald Reagan was a Democrat that came over to the Republican side with good communication. Trump's the same way. Trump's what you would call a Republican, because he voted Democrat for a long time. And but what he is I would say he's center right. But he's a nationalist, he's a populist, and so
and a pragmatist.
What's that? And a pragmatist. And look, and and he's not, and I think God gave him an opportunity to understand who God was. I think he feels like he has been given a second chance at life here. He was 1 inch away from not being here, and I think that persuaded him. But I think you can't underestimate the decision that Elon Musk had in buying Twitter, because he was able to keep the voice silencers from silencing voices. And then I think it was masterful that he co-opted, RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, and he has some smart people now, like David Sachs and some other people, that are going to protect him against his own worst inclinations. And so I think he has a good team now. And if he just lets those guys do the work, he was isolated in 2016. He had no team.
Yes.
He just had his family. And so this time he has some really sharp people, and people that got voted in now are supporters of his. So, and
he also, by the way, Bob, he also had no Jim Baker. He had, when Ronald Reagan, let's face it, Ronald Reagan, these people, this was a governor who had a system and an infrastructure, who knew how legislation worked. But two things have happened, I think. Number one, he's changed, but the world has changed. Media have changed. You're going to see, in my humble opinion, I'm prognosticating, I'm going to be Pythonic and wax Vatic. You're going to see a major shift in how news and information are delivered. You're going to see a change in the way what you and I are doing. Joe Rogan changed the perception of things. Joe Rogan with Vance, and by the way, rebuffed by Kamala Harris, because in order to take advantage of a 4-hour podcast, you got to be able to speak for 4 hours. You got to know what the hell you're talking about. So it vetted and weeded her out. We're going to see a change, a series of concentric circles all spinning and changing. It's a different world. The zeitgeist has changed. I'm excited, as you can tell.
Well, look, Yeah, look, we hit peak centralization, so everything's going to devolve back locally. The whole theme of Trump's administration is really localism, right? They're gonna try to downsize DC. They're gonna push things out of DC that needs to get closer to. Look, why is the Department of Agriculture in DC? It should be in Des Moines, Iowa, right? Or it should be in
Right,
Kansas City, right? And
right.
why is the Department of Interior? Why isn't that in Salt Lake City, right? And things like that. We're Department of Energy. Should Department of Energy be in Oklahoma City or in Dallas, right? So those bureaucracies need to be closer to where the
Indeed.
action is, so that they don't have the DC mindset. They don't have the
Right.
hive mind, right? And then I think you're going to see them. I think they're going to blow up Department of Education completely. I think that's
Oh,
going to go
thank
away.
God.
Trump will not
Thank
fund
God.
it, and so they're total waste. So I think strategically they're going to devolve the federal government down to the extent
Good.
that they can. And I think Republicans are a lot smarter. I have a really good friend of mine who's on the city council in one of those cities near me, and he's part of that new breed that's looking at, you got to win the local races, you got to win the school boards and things of
Right.
that nature. And so I think that's what you're going to see. Because look, you got to build up the bench. The Democrats, look,
Right.
people that get in the Democratic Party, that's a career for them. The problem with Republicans, it's kind of like, hey, I've been successful now, I'll be a politician. And so that mindset has to change a little bit too if they want to have professional,
Absolutely.
politicians, if you will. Not that I really like that idea, but you have to
No, I know what you
understand that's
mean.
what you're competing against.
No, but it's also it's tactics. And one more time, I want to say this. If you want to, not to be a Cassandra, dare I say, or a doomsayer, but now is the time for investors to pay attention. Now you're saying January things change. Get on board now, right now. Go to tradewithlionel.com right now. And the best part about it is that you are not an investment advisor. You don't. I mean, you provide tools and algorithms, but you provide people with the opportunity to chart their course, use all of the available information, have expert advice from seasoned traders and chat rooms, but you're not a regular broker or somebody who says buy this or buy that. You provide people with the ammunition, the intellectual ammunition to make decisions, like you say, life changing. And that's why people have to act now, right
Right.
now.
Yeah, we have financial education and we have tools. And look, I'll send you over a bunch of attaboys. I mean, we've been helping people make some fantastic trades here of late. The market is set up now. In trading, you got to make hay while the sun shines, and there's going to be euphoria now with the realignment. And but come January, people are going to take profit, so they can extend a year before they get hit with the tax on the gains. And then we are going into a recession, and I think it's unavoidable at this point because of the way the system's set up, and it'll take a year for Trump to get really any of his programs off the ground. So I think 2025 is going to be a bumpy year, and it all depends on if we're going to have what I call a straight, basically a sell off of everything, or if we're going to have what's called a great rotation, into commodities outside of financial stocks. But I don't know that either, because if Trump he reconciles with Russia, you're going to see commodity prices fall, right? There's a premium being set into this thing. He reconciles with Russia, oil is going to fall. None of that's bad for Main Street, but for Wall Street has these things priced in at higher rates. And, but hey, look, I'm willing to take one for the team if it helps the whole country. But, there's going to be ways to make money.
Right.
Just have to see how it plays out. And I don't really care. I was telling people in our room this morning, it doesn't really matter to me what it is. I just let the system tell me what to buy,
I
and
was
I just
just
let
going
the
to say that.
system do it.
You
Yeah,
are
and
not a
right, look,
Democrat.
right now,
Right.
guys, the prices that you have listed for the service is these are Black Friday specials. They come once a year, so that, you can't beat these prices any other time of the year. So the prices I gave Lionel to put on his website here our Black Friday specials. If you go to tradelikeagenius.com and you peruse anything on there, make sure you tell people that you heard it from Lionel so I can give him credit. I support his channel this way. And so it's kind of a win-win-win. So I pick up clients, you support his podcast, and I help you make money.
So go to tradewithlionel.com or call 800-949-1408. Correct, sir?
That's correct.
Now, also, let me say, on behalf of a grateful nation, Bob, thank you so much for getting your camera. I was thinking that somehow there was a concerted effort on the part of the shadow government or the deep state to keep you and I from speaking.
But no, it was a self-inflicted wound. I can't help but stare at the button right in front of me now. I'll never forget the button.
Indeed. Bob Kudla, thank you so much, my friend. This is a great day for America.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Listen, you are a fan favorite. Have a great day, my friend. Until we talk again, sir.
Thank you. I'll see you after Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
Indeed.